Hello friend, the first one is SelectorsHub. What is SelectorsHub? SelectorsHub is the next gen XPath and CSS selectors IDE which can help you to write XPath and CSS selector as well as playwright selectors. It can help you to auto generate XPath and all kinds of selectors for any inspected element. It has many features like XPath and CSS selectors, error handling which helps you to learn about XPath, DOM, web elements, etc., and help you to improve your knowledge about selectors and XPath, as well as saves a lot of time because you can automatically generate XPath selectors, locator page. With the features like XPath healing, you can quickly verify multiple XPath in just one shot. You will be able to generate the locator page just in few seconds. You can auto generate the XPath relative to other elements like following, sibling, etc., those kind of combinations. So likewise there are many features in this tool. How you can install, where you can find the download link, let's see that, and what setup is required. So you can directly go to selectorshub.com and there you will find the download link for all the tools which we will be talking about in this course. So the very first one is SelectorsHub. So let's open this, and here you can see that on this page you will find all the details about this particular product, download link, installation step and everything. If you go down, so you will find each and everything here. But yeah, here you can find add to Chrome. It's available on Chrome browser as well as for other browsers. If you want to install it in any other browser, you can just click on that button and you can install from it there. So let's say we want to install it on Chrome, so we'll be talking about here. So here is the add to Chrome button. You just click on this add to Chrome and then add extension. It will get installed in your browser. By default it will not show here, so you can just click on this and then you can pin it to toolbar. And now the SelectorsHub logo is here. Let us close this. So once you have installed it, we always recommend to restart the browser. So you can restart the browser or you can open a new tab and there you can start using this particular tool. So like you can open this google.com or any website, like let's say selectorshub.com itself. If you open, and then you just, to use this particular tool, what you have to do, you can just click on the logo and it will open like this. Another way to open SelectorsHub is you right click, click on inspect, and here you will find the SelectorsHub. Okay, by default SelectorsHub will come as a last tab here. So if you face any problem like not able to find the SelectorsHub, make sure this will be as the last tab here. I will just show you guys. It was coming as a first tab because earlier we have drag and drop at that position. Like by default how it will come for you guys when you will install, if you click and inspect, then SelectorsHub will be here as a last tab, but we will recommend you to drag and drop at the first position. So whenever you will open again, you will always find it at a first position. Okay, so this is how you install SelectorsHub on your browser. Now many times what happen, as soon as you install SelectorsHub, you click on this button, plus button, open a new tab. This is a blank new tab. You see that there is no URL. Now if you try to use SelectorsHub here by clicking on this, it will show like this. So you will feel that, oh, it's not working. Also if you open SelectorsHub in DevTools, here it will also not working here, right? So make sure that there is a URL in the address bar. It's not a blank URL. Okay, so you will have to always make sure that there is a URL like here. So in fact, like if you read these guidelines here in the red, looks like you are missing something. Close DevTools and open website in the new tab. There should be a URL like google.com. So if you open a URL, like now there is a URL here. Now if you open SelectorsHub, you will find it working here. Also if you open DevTools, there also you will find it working. So make sure that you open a website and then there you try. Also make sure that you are not using it in blank tab. You are not using in any like Chrome store from where you have installed SelectorsHub. Like sometimes what happen, like people start trying to use it here. So here also extension doesn't work, not just SelectorsHub, none of the extension will work on the Chrome store as well. And make sure if you are not able to find it in DevTools, please carefully watch the tutorial and restart the browser, so that you will find the SelectorsHub as a last tab there, and then you can drag and drop at first. Okay, so now our installation is done, setup is ready, everything is up and fine. Let's see the features of SelectorsHub one by one. So here, as soon as, like, let's say if I go here on the practice page, there I can show you all the scenarios. So the best part of SelectorsHub is that you can just click on the logo and open it, and now you can access on any tab. Like if you go to any website or any tab here, you need not to open DevTools again and again. You can directly access from here itself, SelectorsHub. Now if you go to this page, you have the access of SelectorsHub. You go to this page, you have the access of SelectorsHub. You go to this page, you need not to open again and again. And with the help of SelectorsHub inspector, you can inspect any element here like this, and you see that auto generated XPath and selectors all possible. If you scroll down, everything is being generated here. So this is how, like, you inspect any element and generate the XPath and selectors here. You see all possible selectors are being generated here. Same way in the DevTools as well. Like if you open DevTools here, in DevTools, if you have to generate XPath and selectors, then you have to use this inspector, DevTools inspector default, and then you can inspect any element and it generates the selector. So this is how you use this way. So let's say we will continue using it here, and I will show you guys here how to use SelectorsHub. You can use it in DevTools or else like in just by clicking on the logo here. Now when you will be using it here, if you want to write XPath and selectors for any element, you just inspect the element and you can see the DOM structure here, or else like you start typing here in SelectorsHub and you will see that it will auto suggest you while typing itself. So you can just select that value, any of this combination, and here you can complete your XPath and or CSS selector, whichever you want to write. If you make any mistake here like this, it will auto suggest this kind of error message like invalid XPath, close square bracket is missing. So if you will be making in any mistake, it will help you to complete or fix that particular error here. So this is very helpful feature of SelectorsHub, XPath error handling we call it, like XPath and CSS selectors error handling, which helps you to learn about those concepts as well. If you make any mistake, it will help you. So this way you can write your XPath and CSS selector. Like if you want to write CSS selector, here you can see that it suggests the input, like you need not to type a lot of things. You see that here it suggests you the permutation combinations of attribute value, the matching count, and then here it shows like what is it is XPath or CSS what you are trying to write. You can select that and complete and verify this way. It will highlight the matching element like this here. If it is somewhere hidden, like if that particular element will be hidden somewhere, like let's say this home and kitchen you are writing, okay, so this element you have written, if that element will be hidden somewhere and if you press enter, it will auto scroll to the viewable area. So this way you can see it here, and it will be highlighted with dashed orange outline. If you hover here, it will turn into the solid red outline. So this way you can like write XPath and CSS selector and find the matching node, how many matching nodes are there, that you will get it here. If there are multiple elements like this you are writing, then all the matching counts it will show here, like 36 span elements are there. First one will highlight in the dashed orange line, rest it will highlight in the blue dashed outline. Here you will find all the matching nodes here, so that you can see here. So this is how you write here XPath and CSS selector. Now if you are writing, let's say, any XPath and CSS selector here, and you want to write a new XPath and CSS selector without losing this value, so you can save this value in selectors. So there's a plus icon here. If you click on this, the value is saved here. Okay, now if you delete this and let's say you try to write a new XPath or CSS selector something here, and now you want to go back and use the previous one, you just click here. So you see that that value is here. Now if you click on this, it will come here, and then you can try to add it in whatever you want that you so this way you will be able to pick up like you can save the value here, or else like you can delete whatever you want, that you can do here, and you can write multiple XPath. Maximum 10 value you can save here in like you can in selectors, so you can save 10 value, and these value will be saved in your local only. Now we will be talking about all the features one by one here. So this was the saving selector in SelectorsHub. Before that, Also, let me explain this inspector here in SelectorsHub, which is very powerful. Like if you go here, so if any element will be having any spatial property, so if you're using this inspector, it will immediately highlight like this element is svg element. So you immediately get to know, oh, this is having some spatial property. If any element will be inside shadow DOM, it will highlight that. If any element is inside close shadow DOM, it will highlight that, and it will let you know. If any element will be inside iframe, it will highlight that also. So this will really help you a lot to learn about these basic concepts, as well as saves a lot of time just to know to know about these kind of spatial property of those elements. So you see that this element is inside iframe, how many iframes are there, so that things you will get to know immediately when you will hover on the element. So this will saves a lot of time. Now coming back to this thing, here you have a feature to generate XPath or CSS selector, case insensitive XPath and CSS selector. What does that mean? Like let's say for an example, there is any element which is having alpha like lowercase and uppercase value, like this one, this XPath. Now by mistake, if you write small e here, then there will be zero matching node, right? But you want to write with a smaller letter. So in that case, if you click on this button, it will convert that XPath into the case insensitive XPath in CSS selector, and then you can use that. So now if your XPath, you will be having a lowercase value like this one, u is small, e is small, then also this will work. So this is to help you to generate the lowercase XPath in CSS selector, case insensitive basically. Next one is what is this access XPath? This button is very useful feature. This is access based XPath feature. Like if you click on this, with this help of this access XPath feature, you can generate the XPath relative to other element. Like for an example, you want to generate XPath for courses with respect to products. So first inspect products and then inspect courses. So here you got the XPath for courses with respect to products. Suppose you want to generate XPath for enter email with respect to user email. So first inspect user email and then inspect this enter email field. So you can see that now it is generated access XPath for enter email field with respect to user email. Here you have the last XPath. So this way you can generate the access based XPath automatically in SelectorsHub. If you click on this button again, you will go back to the home screen. Also, like if you miss anything here, you will always find a tutorial here, detailed tutorial for each and every feature. When you will click on those buttons, you will find the detailed tutorial, so don't worry about that. And how you will find it in DevTools, like if you have open SelectorsHub in DevTools here, so you will find all the buttons like this here, access XPath button here, and this is case insensitive one, this is plus to save button. And here you have like suppose you have click on this access here. Now how to inspect those two elements? You can use DevTools inspector. First inspect this, then again select this inspector, then inspect. So this is how you can generate XPath for relative XPath basically. Now next thing is, what if you want to generate XPath with a particular attribute? Like suppose if you inspected this element, now you see that here for this element it is suggesting that there is an alert icon here, ID looks like dynamic, uncheck the ID checkbox, or delete ID attribute for attribute box to generate relative XPath without ID if it's generated with ID. Okay, so here you see that this ID is, it has generated with this ID. Like if you click here, this goes to the edit box. Now if you try to verify one element matching, okay, now if you refresh this page, let's see what happens. This ID, this XPath got changed, it seems. Now you see that if we paste this, it is showing 0 elements matching. So this is not working. Why? Because ID got changed. So that's the reason, like it was suggesting, SelectorsHub was suggesting that ID looks dynamic. So in that case, we want to generate XPath without ID, when you, because there will be situation when you will be knowing that your application is having a particular attribute as a dynamic attribute, right? So in that case, you click here, and here you have an option. This is an attribute filter basically we used to call. So here you have an option to generate XPath with any particular attribute or without any particular attribute. So like let's say you don't want to generate with ID, uncheck this, and now you see that it is generating without that ID, without that attribute. If you want to generate with any particular attribute, you can pass the attribute name here. Like suppose you want to generate with title, and title, because shortcut is not there, now here enter here title, and hit enter, you see that it is generating XPath with title attribute. So this way you can generate XPath with any particular attribute as well, or without attribute. Now here, suppose you have copied this XPath. Next feature is code one. So generally, like, you can copy this. How you can copy? You can click any of these copy icon to copy the value, or you can click here as well to copy the value. If you want to add it, you just click on that value and it will copy paste here, and you can edit the XPath. So that's how you can add it, and this is how you copy. Okay, so suppose you want, when you are using this XPath, how you can use? You can copy this, go to your editor, and when you are writing this, basically, so generally you write this driver dot find element by dot XPath manually, isn't it? And then you paste this value. But now you inspect another element, you will copy this, come back to your code, driver dot find element by dot, again you will have to type this. So you don't have to type each and every time this value, you can directly get that complete value. Let me just close this. If you click on this code button here, you see that there's a new field comes here, input box, which has this value, and now you see that the complete value is coming here. If you see this, now you can simply copy this value, and you see we need not to type anything, we are getting the complete command. Isn't it amazing? You inspect any element here, you directly get the command, copy and paste it here. Simple. So you can directly generate this command, complete command, you need not to type. But you will say that we are not using this driver.find element, you might be using something else. So you see that if you click on this drop down box here, lots of value will appear. If you're using any of these, you can use them. Like if you're working with Cypress, you can use this. Now you see that it is generating this one. If you're using Playwright, then you can use this command. If you are working with Selenium with Python, then you can use this command. If you're using something like, let's say, at find by, you can use this, and it will also get the selector name as well, so don't worry about that. Suppose if none of these are there in your framework, you have something else like at the rate find by, in place of this you have just find by, and then XPath. Whatever you will be having, you just type that and you can just hit enter, it will generate with that particular command. If you inspect that, it will generate with that command. So what you have to do, basically, whatever is your command, like for an example, your command is something like this, at the rate find by and xyz, like suppose this is not in your method, something like this is there. And so what you have to do, just copy this command, wherever XPath is written in your command, just replace that with XPath value. XPath value keyword. Okay, and if there is a selector name in your command, like keyword is there for your element, like let's say web element and selector name, if there is, if not, then you can leave it. So now if you hit enter or just inspect another element, you will see that it is generating the command find element, that command XPath is there, web element, for which field it is enter password. So you see that you can generate that. So you can customize this command as per your framework, whatever you are using. You see that if you are not having this in your XPath, you can just remove this, and now inspect any element, it will be generating without that keyword. So this is how you can generate the command as well without any like limitation. If you are using Selenium, if you are using Python, if you if you are using any particular language, that doesn't matter. If you are using any particular framework, that also doesn't matter. You can also find the instruction here to frame the command, also the detailed tutorial about this feature here you can see. If you are using it in DevTools, so don't worry, like let me show you in DevTools as well, because there you will not find the code word. So here because with the limited space we have it here. So this is the attribute filter, this is the code command. Okay, so if you are using it here in DevTools, then also you can use it. On the right side you will find the icon. Now let's talk about an important scenario, how you can inspect the dynamic web elements, like dynamic drop down elements, like these kind of elements which immediately disappear when you try to inspect those elements, like this one. Another one, like if you go to Twitter, you will find this kind of bubble loader. So how you can inspect these kind of bubble loader? or these kind of dynamic drop down elements which immediately disappear. So to inspect these kind of elements, we have the debugger feature in SelectorsHub. If you click on inspect here, so also like to use the debugger feature, we recommend you to use the SelectorsHub in DevTools, not here. If you come here, you will find this debugger. It suggests you open the DevTools, then click on the debugger icon. Okay, so here we open SelectorsHub in DevTools, and to use the debugger feature here, there is a small setting required. If you will use this debugger without that setting, it will not work. So what you have to do, click on this setting icon here in your DevTools, click on this ignore list on the left side, and here you have to uncheck these general exclusion rules. You have to uncheck, and you have to enable ignore list. You have to uncheck this as well. So make sure that all these checkboxes are unchecked. Okay, then close this, then close this, and then restart your browser. You will have to restart the browser, then only it will, these settings will reflect in your browser. Okay, so make sure that you restart the browser. Okay, so we will restart the browser now, and let's open it again. Now if we will open SelectorsHub, and now it will work. So what you have to do after doing this, you just have to click on this debugger icon. Going forward, you don't have to do this setting again and again. Only one time it was required. So now if you click on this debugger icon, after clicking on this debugger, make sure that you have to make, like, after clicking on debugger icon, you have to make that element visible within 5 seconds. So click on this and then make this element visible within 5 seconds, and you will see that SelectorsHub will pause this element, and now you can inspect it. So this is how you can inspect such kind of dynamic drop down elements. We have the separate detailed tutorial on debugger as well, so that is also there. So this is how you can inspect this. Again, let me show you. Just once you are done, you can click on that. What you have to do, like, let's say this is not there. What you have to do, just click on this debugger button, and within 5 seconds make this element visible. Then it will pause this. Suppose you are not able to make the element visible within 5 seconds, you need more time. In that case, in SelectorsHub we have a feature, you can customize the timing as well. There is a setting icon here on the right side, you see that, customize UI, debugger time in second. So right now it is getting started with in 5 seconds. If you want to increase, like let's say you want to make it 10 second, 20 second, that you can do. If you want to make it 0 second, that also you can do. Like here in this case of bubble loader, whenever you will see the bubble loader, you have to make the debugger immediately active, because what we were doing here, after clicking on the debugger icon, we were making this element visible, but here we will have to refresh the page, and as soon as you refresh the page, the debugger get executed. So once you click on the debugger icon, you cannot refresh the page. Like for an example, let's say here we click on this debugger icon, okay, and now if you refresh the page, the debugger got executed, it will not pause the page. Okay, so in this case, when there's a bubble loader, you cannot refresh the page, right? So what you have to do here, we need to start the debugger immediately. So what we will do, we will make this debugger time 0. Now come back here, you refresh the page and immediately click on the debugger icon. Okay, so you see, and now we have clicked, and now these bubble loader are paused. You can inspect them, and you see that you can inspect and inspect, and then you can see the DOM and you can see the XPath here. So this is how you can inspect such kind of bubble loader if you have in your application. So this is how you use the debugger feature of SelectorsHub. Once you are done, you can refresh the page, and then debugger will get executed. Okay, next thing is like if we open SelectorsHub here, so we have seen attribute filter, we have seen code, we have seen debugger feature. And then let's say now we will see the POM page, how you can generate the locator page. Okay, so what you have to do, you click on here POM page, and also click on this code. So now suppose you, whichever framework you are using, suppose we are using @findby, something like this. So click on this code and then click on POM page, and after that you will start inspecting all the element for which you want to generate the locator page. So let's say first we inspect this, then we inspect this, whichever elements you need, you just keep inspecting, and you can see that in SelectorsHub all the XPath like the commands are getting generated. If you scroll and see here, all kinds of selectors are there. You copy this you can copy this, or you can download this and then you can paste it in your code here, and you will see that all the commands are here. So this is how you can generate the locator page just in few seconds. Okay, and you can change the command anytime, whichever you want. Like let's say you are working with this one, you can select and choose this. Okay, so this is how you can generate the locator page. What you have to do, let me show it again. Click on this code command and then click on POM page, and after that you will start inspecting all the elements for which you want to generate the locator page. Simple. And the tutorial is here. If you missed anything, there's a tutorial for this, so that is always you can check out. Then next one is XPath healing. What is XPath healing? Suppose there is any UI change happen. So generally what happens, like XPath locators got changed. So in that case, how you can verify those XPath, all the XPath. So in that case, XPath healing feature is very helpful. What you have to do, you just click on this. There's an edit icon, click on this, and here you paste your entire code. You need not to separate anything, just paste, copy and paste entire code here, and you put the command here, whatever command you are using here, that you put, and click on submit. You see that it will fetch all the XPath from your script and show you the result of like XPath matching count. So whichever XPath got changed, you can just quickly verify them and fix them, and then you can replace it in your code. So this is how XPath healing helps a lot to save a lot of time. Here's a detailed tutorial for this. If you ever got stuck, you can check out this. Okay, so we have seen these features. Then there's a quote feature. What is this? It's a very simple feature. Generally by default, selectors are used to generate XPath for the attribute with single quote, like attribute value will be there inside single quote. So if you want this with double quote, you just click on this, and now you see that it is generating with double quote. So now you will be inspecting, it will be having this double quote thing. Then you can customize the UI as well. Like there are lots of XPath selectors are there, but there could be a chance that you don't need all of them, all the icons here. So in that case, you can click on customize UI. Whichever you don't need, you can just hide them like this. Now if you go back here, like let's say you don't need these toggle icon or something out there, so all those things you can hide from here. So you see that now much locators, all locators type will not be there. Whichever is required, that only will be. And if you want to reset, go back to the default value, just click on this and then everything will be reset. So you will be having that. So this is how you can use the SelectorsHub. These were all the features, like all important features from the front UI front. Apart from this, it used to support shadow DOM, iframe, SVG element, every kind of thing, every kind of element. If there will be any sorts of element, spatial scenario, all those it will be supporting. Let me show you the complex one. If you inspect any element, like if it is having SVG element, it will show you that like this is SVG element like this. If any element will be inside shadow DOM, it will show you that this element is inside shadow DOM. What is the selector for that? What is the script that you need for this particular thing? Like if you want to automate this, so that complete script it used to give. If any element will be inside closed shadow DOM, it will tell you that you cannot locate this element and what will be the property that you get it here. If any element is inside iframe, that also it will help you to understand how many iframes will be there, XPath for those all the iframes, you can see that here. So you can simply just switch inside one by one. If there are any more complex scenarios, like let me just close this here and show you here. If there are more complex scenarios like this element is inside shadow root and then this shadow root is inside iframe, I guess you see that. such a complex scenario. So if you open SelectorsHub, here it will let you know that this element is inside iframe. Sorry, this element is inside shadow DOM. It is telling you element is inside shadow DOM, and that shadow DOM is inside iframe. So everything it tells you. So this will save a huge amount of time. So that you can see here how useful it can be for you. If any element is inside iframe and that element is inside shadow DOM, that also it will help you like this. If you inspect any element like this element is inside shadow DOM, so it is telling you that this element, okay, this is closed. Like, let me inspect this element is inside iframe, and then this iframe is inside shadow DOM. So you see that everything you get to know. It's very helpful. This will save a good amount of time for you. Then by default it will come like this way, so you can use it and saves a good amount of time. I hope I have covered all the features. If there will be more, you can always refer SelectorsHub website, as well as like you can practice on this particular page. This will help you guys a lot to learn a lot of things about SelectorsHub, about DOM and everything. There is pro version is also available that has more features without any ads and etc. Also, like if you want to block ads on SelectorsHub, you can just quickly support one-time support just $10 to this particular tool, and you can block all these ads and like interruption in between. So just for $10 for lifetime you can block the ads on Selectors. So this is the tool which will help you to solve every kind of XPath and selectors related problem, and will save a lot of time for you guys. And then next we will be talking about test case studio, which will help you in a much more ways while filing bugs and lot more things. So yeah, thank you. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also check out these awesome informative videos and keep watching more videos on SelectorsHub channel. Thank you.